everyone. We are back. We had a four-week hiatus. As you can see, we made some slight...
4 weeks?
4 weeks. Slight adjustment to the studio here, which turned out really, really good. And Ryan and I are back, and we have some great guests lined up. Today, we have our friend, Kye-Won from Pocha.
Pocha!
Who's going to talk about her...
Best Korean I've ever eaten.
Yeah. It might be the best Korean food I've ever eaten.
Honestly, it's the best Korean I've ever eaten.
I only had kimchi once before that. When I had kimchi before that, did I ever tell you the story?
No.
Las Vegas. If you guys never had kimchi, it's very fermented, very strong.
Great.
Yeah, so I was in Vegas. I got some at a nice restaurant, and literally I went out into the elevator with this kimchi and just started cracking it. And literally I'd get in the elevator and just, and it was, like I told Kaywan, it was funky. Like it was the funkiest kimchi ever.
You were just.
And I just ripped it. And like I'd go in the elevator, rip it, walk out of the elevator and go to a new elevator. I did that for literally 2 hours in Vegas at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And the best part about it, because.
You're so lucky you're not famous.
It's great. So today, though, we're here to talk about a lot of things, including
Fall.
And a new discovered challenge in the business.
Fall.
So those of you guys don't know us.
Football.
Ryan, give me a little bit of backstory on Sprankles. Sprankle Bros.
Backstory on Sprankle Bros. Sprankle Bros was created in 1986, November 28th. That was Doug's birthday. Before that, it was just Sprankle Bro.
One guy.
Just Sprankle Man.
One dude.
Sprankle Boy.
Child.
Oh, I don't think I was that. I don't like to think of myself as more of a boy. But anyways, Sprankle Bros was created on November 28th, 1986. That was your birthday.
Yeah, you're 80.
That's when it was created.
6 years apart.
Yeah, that was the origination.
So do you think... Okay,
Altoona, Pennsylvania.
Well, yeah. So then after that, obviously, we'll talk about our childhood a little later on, but talk to the people about how we became, obviously we became grocers, and then we chose to, obviously do a little bit of Facebook, which we talked about in a previous podcast, but then we started to do a podcast. Why?
Well, we've had glimpses of things that we've been able to air, basically who we are. We've had Facebook, which is like usual. It's a distorted reality. I mean, I don't wake up in the morning like, "Hi everyone, how are you?"
Really excited to be here.
I can't wait.
Go.
Peanuts, 99 cents. I mean, that's just not natural.
It could be though.
I mean, there's something inside of me, obviously, that comes out and yearns for that craziness. But like on a normal basis, that's not who we are. But at the same time, a lot of the time we're in the stores and we're in the public eye. And, we have to be a certain way. We have to kind of like reel it in a little bit. We have to make sure we monitor the scroll. And so the thing that I like about the podcast, I mean, you still have a little bit of self-regulation, obviously. You can't just let it all out. I mean, we're not old enough to do that. You got to be at least, I'd say, 65, 70 to be able to do that. And you have to have enough in the bank that if people, just decide to ban you from the world, that you can, be self-sufficient. So I think that the podcast for me, it originated because it was like, okay, how can we just be ourselves? How can we be ourselves, say what we feel and the way we feel and the way we want to feel. And if we want to be crazy, we just be crazy. And if we want to be chill, we just be chill. But like, I think it's just a cool platform for us to be ourselves and to kind of talk and just say what we feel, get it on recording, and if somebody wants to view and likes it, then that's even better. Maybe someone can relate to it.
I'm excited about telling the stories because traditionally, if we would just put like a Facebook story out there, everybody would know who it was, right? Mm-hmm. They'd be like, "Oh, that's so and so. I was in the store when that happened. This is what happened." But the ability to be able to be anonymous and say this really happened, like the story we talked about before the show, if I had told that story, people would not believe it.
I think it's important that we do tell some of those stories. Maybe not fresh, current ones, because it could be, people could pick up on it pretty quick.
Right.
I guess. But there's a lot of stories where, I mean, let's face it, we've been in this business now for 20-some years. Before that, through our family and through all kinds of different people that we encountered, there were so many interesting people, crazy people, not crazy people that could be crazy people, just so many stories. But the thing is, just like time heals all, time creates opportunity. A lot of those people are no longer with us. I mean,
Oh no, rest in peace.
it's, and much respect, and we miss you. But at the same time, it does open up a door to be able to tell some of these stories without using real names, because some of these stories are just unbelievable. Yeah, it gives us a great opportunity to tell the stories.
Some
gives
great
us a great opportunity too to like explain how we do things and how we think about things and how we encounter things, how we take on challenges, how we accept challenges, how we constantly are trying to evolve, spiritually, as people, as dads, as brothers, as friends, as business owners, just our constant process. This is a cool way to kind of put it out there, and and hopefully there's somebody out there maybe that's not quite to our age yet, that's maybe at a stage of like, whoa, those guys experienced that, those guys went through that. Like, I get people all the time that come up to me and say, what, I can't wait till I get to where you're at. Like, seriously,
No,
I mean, I do. I get quite a few like guys, younger guys, that I can't wait till I get where you're at. Like, whether it be, the fact that I have, kids that have established themselves in the world, and I have another wave of kids, whether it be, I've been married 23 years, whether it be, been in business so long, whether it be, have an established brand that everybody, a lot of people know in the area. Like, they look at that and they think, wow, this guy's got the answers. Well, I got news for everybody. I don't have the answers. I have some answers, but like, I'm constantly looking for answers. Like, I think that's the thing. Some people just think that it's all of a sudden going to hit them, that everything's going to be solved. Like, no. And you'll find out in this podcast, that's not, I mean, every day is like, how come, there's like 50 things we want to get better at every day. Maybe even 100.
Well, and to the same point too, like, oh, hey, Uncle Jack just came into the studio.
Jack, what's he wriggling around?
I think he went right past the main camera.
I think he's practicing for the, what do you call it when you have to go under when you have to get low? Limbo.
Yeah.
I think he's doing a reverse limbo competition.
Yeah. That's not good.
I mean, it's good that he's 80 years old and can do that.
Look, he's ready to go boxing. Love that guy.
Most guys that walk by in that position at his age,
Oh, yeah.
they don't get up.
They don't get that movement.
I mean, he could probably jump up on this table right now.
Oh, yeah, he's ready. His hands up.
Actually, he is.
He's literally good. He's really ready to throw hands.
He actually has boxing wraps on.
No, he's ready to throw hands.
Uncle Jack's a character in and of himself.
Well, one of the things...
We'll tell a lot of stories, Uncle Jack. We got a million stories.
A million stories.
Yeah.
So, interesting, though. Like, one of the things I feel that people underestimate is there's one rapper that literally says, how long I've been waiting on this? And where we're at right now isn't where we want to be. It's just part of the journey.
Yeah.
Right? And to get part of the journey, you got to be able to put committed. You got to be able to be consistent over a long period of time.
That is key.
And you got to be able to take the hits. Rocky, you got to be able to take the hits, but keep on going.
Yeah.
And to that point, a lot of people, they get hit and they're like, this sucks. I don't want to do that again.
Like getting hit.
I'm going to avoid that.
Mm-hmm.
And that pain that you avoid is what's preventing the success.
Yeah. And, success is different to different people. I mean, there's many days where I wake up and say, man, it would be nice just to like wake up and not have this. Because once you choose to be in business for yourself, and once you choose to put yourself out there, you basically give up any free moments of thought. Like, once you're in business for yourself, any business owner knows time is money. So the time you're not thinking about the business or doing the business, you're losing money. So there's a fight there, because you know that you got to maximize the time, but at the same time, you learn to carve out time that you shouldn't be thinking about the business, and you kind of put up a wall. You learn to put up a wall and try not to think about the business, because you got to have a balance. But it's like once you open Pandora's box to owning a business, it's madness.
Well, I think
the whole way.
It's literally a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle choice.
You live it.
Yeah, because if you don't live it, you won't be where you want to be, and you gotta,
You have to live it.
I hear this term a lot. I hear serial entrepreneur. And people are constantly, here's the thing. If you're constantly chasing whatever's out there, if you're constantly chasing the new mission, you're chasing whatever this may be, you can chase that as long as it's still in the wheelhouse. If it's in your wheelhouse, it's going to make your wheelhouse that much better. Yeah. You know, as Paul, our producer, always said, I talked to him about, like, we're building a pirate ship here, Paul.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to conquer bigger ships. And for us to do that, we got to build the pieces. And I think what a lot of people mess up in business is they get into it and they get distracted by a different pirate ship or a different style of pirate ship. And they don't realize if you just work on your own and you're consistent with that every single day and you're willing to take the hits, financial, spiritual, sometimes emotional, your relationships get hurt sometimes in business. You got to be able to take them hits to keep on moving forward.
Yeah, Doug just learned that a couple months ago, actually. But no, he's right. I mean, that is what it's about. I mean, I actually just recently learned that. I learned that probably 2.5 years ago. I probably learned that. So I'm making fun of you, but like honestly, I just learned it myself. But it's critical. Like it's critical to know where you're at and where you want to be. I've actually gotten to a spot I really like. I do. Like I know what I want to build. I know what I want it to look like. I know the kind of people I want to be on the pirate ship, so to speak. I know what kind of people I want to be on the pirate ship. I know what my goals are for them. And that's part of the pressure of being a business owner. If you're anywhere near a decent business owner, you know, you're one of your major goals is you're judged based on the people that work for you and how they speak of you and the opportunities that they have.
Yep.
And so one of the pressures is constantly trying to figure out ways to grow and get better so you create opportunities for them. But, you know, all those pressures, they add up. I mean, for me, I've like I said, I've reached a good point. I've reached a point where I know that I want to build something and I want it to look a certain way. I want it to, you know, have a certain kind of person working for it. But then I also know what I need in life. And so I know there's a number out there that I'm going after for security for my family, that when I achieve that number, and I know when that'll be roughly, if I, you know, do everything I'm supposed to do, then I'll be done. And I'll be perfectly content, and hopefully, you know, health holds up, and I have a chance to, you know, enjoy a nice retirement with my wife and kids and grandkids. But at the same time, in the meantime, though, I think it's important for everybody to understand that you got to enjoy your life while you're there now. I mean, you can't just grind 24/7 like a robot, and then all of a sudden when you're 64, turn it off. Like it's got to be a balance, and I think you and I do a decent job of that. I think we try to have some balance.
Oh, no, for sure. And I think that, you know, the older you get, the less friends you have, the less distractions you have, and you find people that truly share your values. And it's a smaller group than you really think of. And, you know, that college life or whatever, high school life where you had a bunch of friends, that goes away. And when it goes away, you know, a lot of people, you know, miss that and feel like not connected, right? But, you know, at the end of the day, your job is very simple. Be who you are. Commit to the program, and obviously continue to grow.
Yeah.
You know, and speaking of growing, we're about to have our friend Kye-Won from Pocha on. You know, talk about a growth story. Started out at the store as a Google representative, covering our stores, helping us get more up to date. And then she decided with her and her husband hey, let's start a restaurant. That went really well. And then she started to do a full-blown casual restaurant, and it is, if not, one of the best Korean restaurants in Pittsburgh.
Well, it's up. It's nominated. It's
nominated in the city paper.
It's nominated. Yeah.
Make sure you got there and vote.
It's right there. But you know, for those of you that aren't familiar with Kye-Won, Kye-Won Doyle is the chief owner. She's the CEO. She's the chief, and she's the chef owner of Pocha by Kye-Won, Korean restaurant located at 270 West Water Street in Saxonburg, Pennsylvania. Inside the Sprankle store, so hey, you can knock a couple things off your list. Restaurant known for authentic Korean comfort food and barbecue, and it's the reviews highlight the freshness of the ingredients, rich flavors, and Kye-Won's passion for her craft, creating a welcoming atmosphere alongside her staff, including someone referred to as Mama Sue.
Mama Sue.
Mama Sue. Don't try to bluff Mama Sue, I hear. The restaurant, situated inside Sprankle's, garners praise for authenticity, 5 out of 5 rating, 41 reviews on some platforms, and described as a culinary hotspot for those seeking genuine Korean cuisine in Butler County.
Super excited, so?
Super excited. Awesome first guest.
Kye-Won, can you hear us?
I can. Thank you for inviting
Kye-Won.
me.
Welcome.
First question for Kye-Won. This is an interesting question that your brother didn't even know the answer to. So it's got to be a
great.
good question. Kye-Won, Korean. It's a Korean name, right? And the
Yes.
Kye-Won, is that like, it's Kye-Won Doyle. So Kye-Won, is that like, Mary Lou Retton in the United States? Is that like it translate that way? Or is Kye-Won one, like, is that your first name? Or is it hyphened with first and middle?
Well,
Everybody's one.
Koreans have typically two-syllable names. My brother Paul was born in the States, so he's just Paul. But he does have a Korean name, Songho, but most Koreans have a two-syllable first name.
Oh, he's been
We
hiding
don't
that
have
Korean
middle
from us.
names. So I don't know if I guess it's more like Mary Lou because maybe Mary Lou has a middle name.
Yeah.
And when we say our names in Korean, we usually say our last name first. And my last name is in Korean is Choi, pronounced Che. So when somebody who is Korean asks me my name, I say my name is Che Kye-Won.
Okay. I got you.
So last
Yeah.
name first.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So that answers the question.
So Kaywan, we were telling the group about how you got started. Walk us through the process. When you were there and thought
boy.
about having, you're literally there trying to sell, obviously, an awesome store tour on Google.
No, but I don't even know. It was so long ago, but I had met you guys doing some Google work for you, but then, months, a year later or so, I was renting an RV from somebody in Cabot, which is near the store. 'Cause I live 40 minutes away. I was going to a Penn State Whiteout game because our son is in the Penn State Blue Band, and we were going to the game. And we were picking up this RV, and I said to my husband, I think there's a locally, family-owned grocery store here. We should go there instead of somewhere else. So
Great
we
decision.
pull in, I
I'm
Google
a
it. And I'm
fan.
like, oh yeah, there it is. It's just a few miles away. So we pull in, and that Friday, it was probably 11:30 or so. You had a big happening in the store, and I, you happened to be standing at the coffee shop when I walked in, getting a coffee. So like, it just as I tell this, like all the little moments lining up together is what makes this whole thing magical, I think. But you were happy, you were standing right there in the front that day, and we recognized each other. And how's it going? And you said it's been eventful. If you know anybody that would like to have a lunch counter, because we had some events this morning, so it was a Friday morning, and you said let me know, and I walked over and I was taking pictures of it, and you were just kind of giving me some details about it and about like how much it would cost, and I was taking pictures for some of my friends who own really great food trucks in the area, thinking about them. And my husband said, oh, are you thinking about so and so? And I said, yeah, I am. So we started shopping, and my husband said, you should do Korean out there. And I said, are you crazy? Do you remember that awesome job that I had, that I love, that I'm so good at? And he said, I know, but this is amazing. Like it's like falling in your lap basically. And I have never thought and considered ever about opening a restaurant. So when he just pulled this out of the sky, it was just a moment that he had this like thought. And I just kind of poo-pooed him away. We kept shopping. And then, of course, somewhere along the middle of the grocery store, Doug sees us again and says what he says to every customer. He says, are you guys finding everything? And my husband said, hey, don't you think Kaywan should do Korean out there? And if anybody knows Doug, they will totally believe his next sentence. If you're serious, I'll go get the contract right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, he's not serious. And Michael's like, yeah, we're serious. And you said that would be awesome. I brought in sushi when nobody thought sushi would go in Saxonburg, and this would be so great. You let me know. And I said, no, I have a basket full of groceries getting ready to go tailgating. This is not what I was thinking about. And you said, think about it over the weekend. You have this weekend before I have to fill that spot. But I get to the game and I could not stop thinking about it. In the middle of 100,000 screaming people, I could only think about the restaurant. And I had 3 lists on my phone. And one was, is this a financially good idea? And it was a screaming no.
Oh yeah, no, it's always a bad idea for a restaurant.
Yeah.
to quit
And
to
grocery
quit
stores.
my
Yeah.
job that I was doing so well in and open a restaurant, which everybody knows isn't profitable for a couple years in a time where we had all-time high food costs. Terrible idea. And then just physically on my body, and do I want to be instead of just being remote and being my own boss, like do I really want to be on my feet 15, 16 hours a day, lifting 50 pounds, bags of everything? And the quality of my life, do I want to give up golf and every night and weekend be working? And everything was a no. And then my kids were like, oh my gosh, you have to do it. Doug Sprankle called me at 6:30 Monday morning and said, hey, what do you think? And I said, it's 6:30. And you're like, oh, really? It's like lunchtime to me. I've been up since 4 because, he's here for the trucks. And I was like, oh my gosh, this guy. But it also told me that he was like serious. So I said, have you had Korean food? He said, no. And I said, what if I'm really bad at it? And he said, oh yeah, it's a good point. And I said, why don't I bring you some and let's talk about it then. Let's see if you think it's a good idea. So 2 days later, I rolled in with an entire car full of food, enough to feed his entire staff. He had made an announcement that if people, and told all of his department heads that they had free lunch waiting for him. And we asked everybody, and everybody thought it was really great. And because I did not want to waste time or money opening something in Saxonburg, because I'll put it politically correct, there isn't very much diversity here in Saxonburg. So I just didn't know how much people would embrace the food, the culture, and having that kind of a restaurant here. And so to have the staff who is, largely of this community be so excited, he turned to me, Doug turned to me and said, I'll do whatever it takes to get you in here. What do you need from me? And I'm like, I don't even know. And he said, I will help you every step of the way. So I went home that night and quit my job. So 5 days after walking in here to buy groceries, I made a major life decision that I had never thought about doing before. I just went on, it was the right thing. I felt like it was the right thing. Like I said, all the things led up. That was just led up to me saying it was the right thing. My kids, my husband, and even my boss, when I called them, they were like, we totally get it. And after I sent off my resignation letter that evening, I Googled how to open a restaurant, and including LLC and getting my serve safe and just everything. I had no idea what I was doing, but it's been the passion of my life now, and it's been such an amazing journey.
So, Kaywan, before we talk about your space here now, which is actually a full-blown restaurant with her partners at Grist House, what are some of the things you're thinking about, and what are some of the aha moments, shocking moments you had when you started to look through the actual mechanics of opening your business and, like purchasing equipment and all those things that started to come up, including inspections? I mean, there's just so much you have to take on when you open a business, especially in Pennsylvania. What are some of those things that you experienced?
I mean, there from very big things to very small things. When I say that, I mean, you really handheld me like a child. I walked in to just work on some space, like putting racks together one day, and you said, you're not going to be able to wear those shoes anymore. You know that, right? And I said, what?
No more fashionista.
And you said, you have to have your toes have to be covered. Like you're going to be in a restaurant and like that. I had a skirt on. You're like, you really should wear long pants. Make sure, you're covered, like safety wise. Another one was when he said, are you going to wear a hairnet? And I'm like, what? Because I have this like Asian thick hair, and he's like, you're going to have to wear a baseball cap or like a hairnet or something. And he had people in the deli with these hairnets who I love. And I was like, I'm never wearing that. And he said, you're going to have to put it in a baseball cap. I've never worn a baseball cap before. And now I feel like my customers don't know what I look like without one, because now I'm just always in a baseball cap. So just those things were simple things that I didn't know were going to be so different for me. I stopped, I always had my nails manicured, so they're not manicured anymore. They're short. I don't wear jewelry anymore. Like I was never caught without my wedding ring. So just like so many little changes that Doug was like, oh, you're not gonna be able to do that. Oh, you're not gonna be able to do that anymore. So I used to wear like cute dresses, like all that. No, I'm wearing chef pants, chef shoes, just getting ready. And then when it came to like, oh, I want to make this and this. And he would say like, oh, you don't have a hood. So what can we do over here? And trying to figure out how to make food. So at the time it was in that 15 by 15 kind of space in the middle of the grocery store. There's no hood. And just trying to get inventive about what I could make over in the deli and what time I could make it so I wasn't in their way, how we could transport it over to the serving space and have it kept warm. And Doug was like, okay, we need a steam table and all these things. And really being able to understand what equipment I needed for the space that I was in. And then, hey, we need to figure out the design, and like having him put it on CAD and draw it for me, and be able to see how much space I had. Cause what you think you have is different than what you actually have. And you're like, you need 4 feet clearance to be able to move this around. And I just had no idea. Like I would have not known, and probably would have wasted a lot of money without that guidance. And those things, I just don't know how people open without a mentor in that way, if they've never been in that industry, because I had no idea what I should be ordering. I knew what I needed in terms of tools, but not the layout of the space. And I think that was huge.
Well, most people that open a restaurant, to be fair, don't commercially cook for the first time, a month beforehand.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I mean, I say that joking, but at the same time, like, it makes it more impressive, because I think, to your point, a lot of people have a lead up. I mean, you see these chefs that open restaurants. I mean, there's a series of events that happens to get them from the point that they're a sous chef to owning their own restaurant with their face on the door. I mean, there's a progression there, and even in the grocery world, there's usually a progression. Either as far as independent grocers, usually it's your father did it, or your mother did it, or your grandfather did it, and then your father did it, or your grandmother did it, or you were a manager for somebody and then they sold you the business. There's a progression there that kind of like, it's always like the first day that you're responsible for paying the bills on any business is like, wow. Like, I had 22 years of training, and still the first time that my butt was on the line for it, it was a whole different game than before. But like, it gives me a lot of respect for what you did, because, you didn't have that lead up. It was like, like you said, you're this professional woman, well-dressed, well-spoken, have your hair done, nails done. You have your nights, you're on beautiful golf courses, enjoying life. And then all of a sudden, it's like most people actually, when they're in the grind, their goal is to get to that point. and then you were at that point, and you said, no, you know what? That looks like fun. Like, that's a special calling, I'll say,
Yeah, that came from looking. I knew at the end of my life, I would not regret. There's a saying that you never regret things you do. You only regret the things you don't do. And I knew that at the end of my life, if I did not try this, I would regret it. I'd always wonder. I'm actually okay if I try it and I fail, but I would not be okay if I never tried. And Doug was like so willing to help so much. Not just like financially, I thought the deals were really fair, and the mentorship, it just made it seem like all I had to do was show up and cook, and he would help me with the rest, and we would figure it out. And there was so much. I mean, I think one day he said to me, "We'll laugh about this one day," and I was actually thinking about it recently. That my first month that I was here, I would get here, prep in that space. But I also don't have a pantry. So I had these carts that I would drag from the back, and I would prep in the open. People are like trying to talk to me while they're picking out their breads and stuff. And then I would take that back, and then I would cook it in the deli. I would bring it over to the steam table. I would serve people right in front of me. I would shut down at 2:00. I would do I'd take all my dishes over to the deli, because I didn't have a dishwasher, and I would do the dishes in the deli sinks, and I would do it again and open for dinner from 5 to 7:30, and then I would be here doing the dishes for the rest of the night. And it got to the point where Doug would say to me, "You have to leave at night. My managers are clocking overtime because you are still here doing the dishes," because that's how hard it is. Like, you own your own business, and I was here by myself. I never thought at my age I would be doing the dishes at 10:30 at night. It was 10:30, and his managers were like, "How much longer are you going to be?" And there were nights where I had so many dishes because I had so many customers that I would take dirty dishes in bins home, fall out of my car, and my husband would do the dishes while I slept.
Well, that tells you how much you love it. Because,
committed.
Like, to the point.
I did that, and I would show up the next
wash
morning,
dishes at 10:30,
which leads me to my mom. Wait, were you saying something, Ryan?
No, I said most people wash dishes at 10:30 p.m. to work their way to getting to where you were. It's still amazing, the calling of,
But I was so happy. I was so happy. building something
Labor
for
of
someone
love.
else is very different than building something for yourself. And I never knew that my entire life because I've never been an entrepreneur until now. And it is so different and it is so satisfying. And anybody that's out there thinking about it, it's hard. It's not a get rich quick. But it is so satisfying and so fulfilling.
You got to get used to this face if you want to start your own business.
Sorry. Wait, what did you say?
You have to get used to that face. Look at the face is just total shock and awe. You know what? Speaking of shock and awe,
You got to get used to having that face a lot.
Ryan, so the story, the story of just the first
good.
commitment. So then we had.
Wait, yeah. So there was that.
So that was,
here we are.
call it phase one,
Here
right?
we are.
Commitment.
We are. So I'm getting ready for that space, and we have ordered everything, and I'm gonna open in about a week, and then Doug over the loudspeaker in the grocery store, Kye-Won to the principal's office, and so I go in there, and I'm like, "What's up?" And he said that the brewery that was in here previously in the tap room had given notice they weren't going to be renewing their lease, and he said, "You should just move down there when they leave." And I said, "Oh my gosh, absolutely not. Like, I can't imagine going into another space 10 times as big. I don't even know if I have proof of concept. We don't know if people are going to even eat this food because I had not even opened yet." And
Mike referred to Saxonburg as white bread America.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I don't care how much white bread you've had in your life. The first time you have a burger with kimchi,
I know.
changed your life.
So then,
It became my second
so
favorite burger.
he said no. He said no, and then he said, I can call out to a couple of the local breweries to see if anybody wants to extend to the tap room. And I said, I'm really, my guy is the owner, one of the owners of Grist House, and he said, really, give him a call. And I did, and I told him that I was opening this lunch counter in a grocery store in Saxonburg, and he was like, he said that was so much in one sentence, like, Saxonburg, like what in the world? And
Oh yeah, no, these guys are Pittsburgh guys, like big Pittsburgh guys.
yeah,
And,
downtown Pittsburgh.
there's
Very,
Brian,
very,
Crystal, and
very
Kyle.
successful downtown Pittsburgh. And he even said that, and he goes, "I have 2 commercial kitchens. You can pick one. I'll build you a kitchen. I never knew you'd open a restaurant." And I said, "I've already signed a lease. I'll talk to you about that next year. My question is, how do I buy your beer and sell it wholesale because I love your beer the most?" And they said, he said, "Well, the licensing is too expensive, distributor's license, and all those things. The best thing is for you to take one of ours. We have 3. I'm using one at Collier. You can have the other one." And I said, "Oh my gosh, no, I don't think I can. I can't do that. Like, it's the size of a postage stamp. I don't know that you guys want to commit one of your limited licenses to this space." And he said, "No, listen, I'll talk to." I said, I would feel better if you saw it." They showed up the next day, and they have nothing going on, Brian and Kyle, and they sat in here in this space, and they said to said to Doug, "We just need to make it on brand. We're like, we see the vision. We're in. We want to open this restaurant with Kaywan. We just need to make it on brand with Grist House. So let's start by knocking out a wall, putting in a garage door. Let's put in some windows. Let's put in some bathrooms so our guests don't have to walk across the store. Let's expand the kitchen." And Doug, and I felt like I was sitting there watching like my parents talking. And I was just like, can't believe it. And then Doug said, "Okay, I'm in." And I was like, what just happened? So that's what happened. And so I was out there for 6 weeks out in the middle of the grocery store.
Yeah, it wasn't too long. People do miss the grab and go,
It wasn't very
though.
long. While the brewery was finishing out their lease, and then they finished, and then we gave it a couple weeks to clean, and then we did pop-ups in here in this space with the original layout for a few months while we were getting all the permitting and the licensing and the architecture all figured out. And once we got the go, we shut down, and here we are. We've been open for 6 months.
Has it really been 6 months?
Isn't that crazy? 6 months.
It's crazy.
But
It is crazy.
It's crazy.
So, and I think one of the really cool things is, you have brought your entire family, including, we talked about earlier at the Blue and White game, Aiden works there over the summer. The entire family's in the business.
Yeah. It's cool because I
so
didn't know
my
any
mom,
Korean people.
when I was in that original space out in the store, I would call my mom in the morning and ask her questions, and she had all kinds of questions for me. And then I would say, can you find this ingredient? Because I don't have access to all the ingredients that I need here in Pittsburgh. And she lived in the Northern Virginia, right outside of DC area, which there is the 3rd largest population of Koreans in the country behind LA and New York. So there's a lot of Korean representation, a lot of Korean grocery stores. So I said, can you find me this, this, and this? We would talk like every day. And then I would call her on my way home. And at one point she was like, are you working 15 hours a day by yourself? And I said, yes. And she said, I'm going to come help you. So she came to help. She was only going to be here for like a week, maybe 2. And she would wake up with me in the morning, and she's in her 70s. She would wake up and come in here and chop and cook and do all these things for me, and help me serve, give me ideas, and then would leave with me at the end of the night and refuse to go home early. I would try to get her to go home early with my husband. She refused, would wake up in the morning, do it again with me. After a couple weeks, I sent her home to see my dad. And then she wanted to come right back. And then after a couple months of that, my dad was like, what are we doing? What's happening? Are you coming back ever? And she said, I can't. I have to stay here with her. So she says she's going to move. So my husband and I found her a home, like a third of a mile away. Like you can walk.
She's a Saxonburger now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And then my father has 5 sisters, and one of them in Virginia, he is like the favorite sibling. And so she said, well, if he moves, I'm moving. So we got her an apartment up on Main Street in Saxonburg. She's 90 and she lives in Saxonburg. So now we have 3 Korean residents in Saxonburg, in like a first time in history.
That's
and
funny.
Again, I also don't know how they're going to be perceived here in town, in this very, non-diverse town. But you know what? My mom walks here often, and people will like honk their horn and yell Mama Sue at her down the street.
Mama
it's very
Sue's
sweet.
a
Like
legend
everybody in
already.
town knows Mama Sue. So like she goes to bingo here at the fire hall. They all know her. It's very sweet.
Oh, Mama Sue, man, she's got some character to her.
Oh, Mama Sue's great.
And you know what? If when I'm that age, I just hope I'm that spry. And again, Mama Sue, I mean, she must obviously she loves you, and I'm sure she enjoys working with you, and the camaraderie of it. That I'm sure is a big part of it. But it's got to be, from her standpoint, for her to be that driven, she has to just be enjoying building it as well. It has to be something. I'm sure she looks at it like she's a part of the build, like she's driving towards something. I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I feel it with my own children, though. I'm sure you do too, especially you, Ryan, because you have your kids at that age. That if they told me that they were going to start a business, and it was something I knew anything about, I sure as heck, if I was retired, would be there trying to build.
Oh yeah, you get excited.
So I know. I mean, she works more hours than anybody, including me. She's here early in the morning before I get here, making homemade dumplings every day, and she stays till the bitter end at night, even though I try to make her go home. She's here when I'm at home on my days off. She's still here making kimchi and stuff. Like, she is always here.
That's amazing.
And it's amazing at her age, and I think that's a very cultural thing, that we don't put our
what was she doing before
our parents
this
in nursing homes if we
Yeah.
physically can take care of them, because it just gives them a better quality of life to get up and move and walk and have something to be responsible for and to look forward to. So it's been really great to see how healthy she is. I hear people say that to me all the time, that their parents are not as healthy as her at their age, and so I know that that is doing a lot for her, but she is the driving force behind everything in that kitchen.
And what was she doing before she decided to be a grinder? You know, what was she doing before she decided to work?
My mother is a licensed beautician. She's owned beauty shops and hair salons, and my mother is not a great cook. Like, she doesn't like to, and it's not that she can't. She doesn't like to do it. It's not her favorite thing to do. To me, it's catharsis. Like, I love to be in the kitchen and cooking. She does not. So a lot of this has just been me teaching her how to cook and teaching her the recipes and working on things with her like that. But this is new for her too. This whole venture.
That makes it even crazier.
That does.
Maybe that's why she's so excited about it. I mean, after you do something for a long time, I mean, I've cut meat, off and on for 25 years, and I still enjoy it from time to time, but to be honest with you, like, that part has already been done. Like, I've already done that. Like, it's neat to go into another. That's one of the reasons we're doing this. I mean, this is fun. This is another adventure. This is another opportunity. It's another challenge. And that's probably why she's in such good shape, because she's not afraid to challenge herself, you know?
So Kaywan, as we wrap up, if there's one thing that you could tell somebody out there that wants to start a restaurant, that wants to get involved, you know, what would you give them as far as advice?
Oh my gosh. What?
I know.
There's so many
Compile the
things.
library.
What's step one?
Here's the biggest thing. You have to know why you want to start a restaurant. It cannot be for the money. It's kind of like going into teaching. It's not for the money. My passion is about feeding people. I love seeing somebody try really great food. I am passionate about the ingredients I'm using and the process and the food that I'm serving. Everything that we do, we cook fresh every day. There isn't, I'm not buying frozen things and defrosting them, and I don't have a microwave. Like, I'm not deep frying pre-made dumplings like most Asian restaurants are doing around here. I'd rather not have them on my menu. I barely make any money on the dumplings if I were to factor in how much time my mother is spending making them, because it would be physically impossible for me to charge people what they're worth. But that's not what it's about. It's about them actually trying this cultural favorite of mine. It's called mandu, and so I have it on the menu right now. But like those chicken wings, we are prepping and breading and frying and double frying every day. My brother, every single day, because we could buy frozen and it would be cheaper and we'd make more money. But that is not what makes me get out of bed. I get excited about people trying the food and saying, "Oh my gosh, this is so good." So if you're not passionate about that, then the restaurant world is not going to work for you. It's because people see through that quickly, and I think what has people come back is they can taste the passion and the tradition that's in the food. And if you don't have that point of view, I just would not, encourage somebody to do it, because it's really hard. There's much easier ways to make money than the grind. But if you are passionate about it, it's not the grind. Like, I get excited every day to come into work.
And you're already getting accolades, including nominated for, I hear, the best restaurant in the city paper for new Korean restaurant.
Yeah. So, I mean, after a month of being open, we were nominated and then finalists, and then ultimately we came in second, but after only a month of being open, for best wings in Pittsburgh and best casual dining in Pittsburgh Magazine. And that was humongous. We lost wings to Bob's Big Shot, or Big Shot Bob's, and we lost best casual dining to Burgatory, which are huge chains.
Big
So I feel
companies.
I won in my own little world. And then most recently, we are in the running for best Korean, best burger, best wings, and best new restaurant to open in Pittsburgh in City Paper. So we should hear about that soon.
Make sure you got there and vote.
That burger, if anybody out there has not had the burger at Pocha, it's unbelievable. You know, there's so many burgers that are great. I love burgers. Everybody loves burgers. There's so many really good burgers in this world. There are. But, like, it's a uniqueness, like, that separates it. And when I think about it, my number one burger of all time, and it's boring. It is. But the Big Mac. That's my number one burger.
It's a great burger.
It's a great burger. It's just the right amount of everything, and the sauce is amazing. But it's, like, different. That's what makes it so cool. You don't get it. Any other burger you have is great, but it's not like the Big Mac. It's very unique.
Right.
Same with the Korean burger. I mean, that taste, and I don't even like spicy, but I like a little extra kick on it. It's just so unique and so flavorful, and, like, you just are mad when it's over. You're like, man, I wish I had room for 4 of these things. Like,
Right.
it's a magical experience.
I will tell you, when we were trying to develop the menu, the guys from Grist, Brian and Kyle, said, "Listen, we love your food. That's why we're doing this with you. But how are you open? How do you feel about adding some things to the menu that are not Korean, or having options for people? Because if we're a neighborhood tap room and people are coming here multiple times a week to just have a beer and watch a game, and they're not in the mood for Korean, will we have something that they could enjoy as well?" And that is why I specifically decided to put a burger on the menu, so somebody could have a classic American lettuce, tomato, onion kind of burger, or a hot dog like that, or chicken wings like that, or nachos. So there are some things that are classic bar foods, and I call that in the menu like my childhood and my adulthood. There are foods that people that are native Koreans can come and eat. That is not Americanified at all. It is true Korean, what my mom and I have been, making my whole life. And they will find those very familiar. And then there are some things that are really, really popular in Korea right now, which is why I call it my adulthood. A lot of things with cheese, burgers, wings, things that are being amalgamated because of the globalization of the internet and cultures that people are eating in Korea right now too, but I'm giving some access to here. So if people have not had Korean before, or if you have a family member that's like, I'm not sure about Korean, you can bring them and they can have a burger and fries, and it'll be a great burger and fries. And then when they smell and see the food that's on the table and see how accessible it is and how like it's not that scary once it's on the table, you'll have people eating Korean. I'm positive of it.
I mean, that's me.
Well, plus, you have the best beer in Pittsburgh to go with it.
It is good beer, man.
I can't even begin to tell
It's
you
good
about
beer.
that. They have been in business for 11 years. They're about to open a 55,000 square foot facility in Collier. While other breweries in Pittsburgh are closing, like every month, they are opening this massive, massive facility because their beer is so good, and their business and the guys are such good, ethical, smart business people. But the beer is really, really the best
beer is
beer
really
in Pittsburgh. And the fact that I get to partner with them is a dream. I don't even know how that happened.
It's a great combination.
So it's amazing that we have Grist House right here in Saxonburg, and people can drink here. You can have a beer here. You can take 4-packs home, and they're right there over at Freedom Farms as well, just 12 minutes away. It's just, we're very, very fortunate for them to like come up to Butler County from Allegheny.
For sure.
Thank you, Chris.
I agree.
Well, guys, super excited. Thank you so much, Kye-Won, for coming on the
Thank
show.
you.
Thanks, Kaywan.
Gong. Hey!
Kye-Won.
And again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in this week. Ryan, is there anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
I just want to say, everybody just needs to enjoy this time of year, It's a great time of year. You got the crisp morning air. You got a nice afternoons. It's generally not too rainy. Knock on wood. Hopefully I'm not jinxing it. You got football coming up. Football's happening. I mean, it's just...
Wait, time out. Football. Wait, time out. People should pre-order packs of wings for the football game.
It's valid.
Go.
Wow.
It's valid.
That'd be great.
Football's coming up. It's happening. You got pro football. You got college football. You got high school football. You got this great, part of being in Western Pennsylvania between the air and the sweatshirt weather and the campfires and the football. I mean, it's just a great time to be alive in Western Pennsylvania. So, I just want everybody to make sure that they enjoy it because, everybody's going to be cold soon and then hot again and then rainy and hot again. So just soak it in. Just take a minute from the grind and soak it in, K1.
Throw your sweatshirt on. Well, thank you so much, Kye-Won.
Thanks,
you, everybody.
Kye-Won.
And as always,
Thank you,
tune in
guys.
Sprankle Bros every week right here on all of our platforms. X, Facebook, YouTube. Producer Paul, am I missing anything?
Instagram.
Let's go. Thanks, guys.
TikTok. We can't do what we do without you guys.
Come and see you.
Come and see us.